Hello and welcome back to ESPR Boxing's YouTube channel. Absolutely delighted on 5v5 fight day to be joined by cruiserweight number one fighter on the planet, IBF and Ring Magazine world champion, Jai Opeteia. Jai, first off, thank you so much for joining me today, and how are we?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
All good, for the pleasure of you joining me. Before we get into obviously the 5v5 card, you are on site in Riyadh in Saudi. We've just seen you come through the Maris Bradis rematch. It was fairly comfortable on the scorecards. With the controversy of the IBF taking the title off yourself, they've done it with Joe Cordina. We've seen what the IBF can be like. Are you almost happy that that chapter's almost put to bed in a sense with Bradis and the IBF?
Yeah, for sure. It's good to put all that sort of stuff behind us, and now we move forward and we chase another belt. So,
From what we've seen, the WBO looks to be the next bout that you're chasing. Chris Smith is that title holder, and he's fighting Richard Riakporhe on the 15th of June at Crystal Palace's Stadium in London. Seeing as that's where your one eye is next, how do you see that fight going between Chris Smith and Richard Riakporhe?
man, I'm expecting a good fight. I think both of these boys are great fighters. They both got a lot on the line. This win for them will change their careers. I feel like they're gonna after winning this, they're gonna be a part of the Riyadh season. I feel because yeah, well, it's the place to be. So I'm expecting a great performance from both fighters. I reckon it's going to be a war.
And that did sort of lead on to my next question of obviously we've seen you have fought in the UK when you knocked out Jordan Thompson in an absolute masterclass performance. Chris Smith has fought in his hometown of Bournemouth at their stadium, and now he's going to fight Richard Riakporhe in Crystal Palace's stadium. Do you think the fight against the winner will be over in Saudi, as we've seen your last two fights there?
Um, and I feel like it. I feel like it should be. It's mutual grounds. You know, but it doesn't bother me. I think they were talking about there was a fight night in September that's going to be in London. So wherever they tell me to fight, that's where I'm going to fight. It doesn't bother me. We just want these unification fights. So wherever I got to go to get these belts, that's what I got to do.
So for yourself, obviously, I remember speaking to yourself at the press conference ahead of the Jordan Thompson fight. Do you see, from what I got from yourself, it's always just business as usual. Whoever's next, it's just the same again. Could you see Saudi becoming almost like a second home and a home base for yourself? Or, as you say, is it just wherever the next fight is, wherever the next bout is, we'll go there?
I personally think Saudi's where it should be. I feel like it's mutual grounds for everyone. Everyone wants to fight in their own homes, so I feel like it's fair to fight in Saudi. I'd love to fight these boys back in Gosford Stadium. Pack out my home crowd and bring big fights back there. But we don't always get what we want. So but at the end of the day, it's not me putting the fight nights together anyway. So I just got to do what I got to do.
And you have sort of already alluded to it of more bouts, more titles. Is it a case of wanting to tie up the whole division and get undisputed status? We've got Noel Miakalian, apologies if I've pronounced that wrong, with the WBC bout, and Gilberto Ramirez with the WBA. Are they the sort of two fights after, say, you beat Chris Smith or Richard Riakporhe, you take the WBO? Is it undisputed status at cruiserweight that you're looking at?
100%. All we want to do is fight for belts. That's what I'm aiming for. Like I said, I can only fight who they put in front of me, but I'm chasing the unification fights. I want to be undisputed cruiserweight champion. So let's make it happen.
I mean, I firmly believe you will be undisputed cruiserweight champion. You are the best 200-pound fighter on the planet. I think there's no undisputing that for myself. We've just seen a bit of an interesting one. We've just seen Lawrence Okoli pick up the WBC Bridgerweight title. Now, he done it with absolute ease. For me, he shouldn't have been in with the opponent. Rosansky shouldn't have even been in with him. It was far too easy. Is that about an almost sort of like a one weight, one fight type of contract. Is that a bout you could see yourself fighting for to almost become a three-weight world champion?
Definitely, why not? It just opens up more doors. It's a new, division, and like you said, a three division world champion sounds good. So I don't see why we couldn't fight for that later on down the track. So who knows what's in the future, man? But right now, man, all I think about is just fighting for these unification fights. I really want to be the undisputed champion of the cruiserweight division. And then once I've done that, then we think about our next move.
And then as we move on to the 5v5 card, which potentially does bring your next move into it, out of the five fights that have been made, which fight are you most looking forward to and why?
Uh, Man, you can't look past the heavyweight fights. You know what I mean? I think this Yang and Wilder fight's an exciting fight. They're both big men, and they're both, hold fucking crazy power. So I'm excited to watch that. But to be honest, I'm not a huge boxing brain when it comes to looking into all the fighters. So being at the weigh-in yesterday, seeing the rest of the 5v5 and seeing their energy and just bro, this is life changing for these boys. You know what I mean? It's huge to be a part of these big fight nights. So it's good to see them here, and see their energy and the way they're carrying themselves. They're pumped to be here. They know this is a big opportunity. So it's refreshing for the sport. The Riyadh seasons are putting on the biggest fight nights in history, and they're also opening doors for up and comers and people trying to get their big break. So it's massive. I'm happy to be here.
Like you say, it's what Turkey Al Sheikh and the Riyadh season are doing for boxing. It is huge. We've seen heavyweight fights that we almost were a dream and seemed a million miles away, and now we're getting them regularly. And with those heavyweight fights we've both mentioned, have you got one eye on either fight? Is it sort of Wilder Zhang and Hrgovic Dubois? Any of those that sort of, if you were to look to move up to heavyweight, are any of those fighters, have you got an eye on them?
Honestly, I'm just here to enjoy the fights. You know what I mean? I'm not even thinking about that stuff. You know, that stuff further down the track. Like I said, my focus is just becoming unified, the undisputed cruiserweight champion. So that's pretty much all I think about. These other fighters, man. I'm just here to enjoy the fights and you know come to relax at a fight night for once and not be on edge because I'm getting ready for a fight. So.
Just a pleasure to enjoy it for once. Focusing on those two heavyweight fights, do you see this as almost potentially a last chance saloon for Daniel Dubois at the top level?
I don't know, man. He's only young for a heavyweight. You know what I mean? He's still got a lot of potential, and I feel like he's at an age where he's only going to get better. So, you know, who knows what's in the future for him? I feel like he's got a big name. He's got time to sort of, you know, like the heavyweights are around, mid-30s and stuff. So he's only what 26 or something. So I feel like he's got time to do what he needs to do, be in the heavyweight division for a bit longer. But you know, I honestly haven't put much thought about it until right now. So I'm just like I said, man, we're just here to enjoy the fights and be a part of an awesome card.
And then for Filip Hrgovic, I personally said this is not necessarily a coming out party, but it's a case of this is a big name on his record because Filip Hrgovic is widely regarded as sort of, as you said, the heavyweights are the top heavyweights are mid to late 30s. Hrgovic is widely regarded as sort of the best of the rest. Do you see that as sort of Filip Hrgovic is sort of the best young heavyweight currently?
How old is Hrgovic?
So compared to let me just double check on it, but compared to obviously like your Zhangs, etc. Filip Hrgovic is I think 30 or 31. So compared to
Mm,
sort of your
yeah,
Zhangs,
yeah,
Wilders, Furies, etc. He's got quite a few years on them.
yeah. No, that's good, man. It's good to see these big fights happening. The heavyweight division's really popping off. So it's good to see a lot of big names around. You know, like it's not the end of the road for these boys either. Like they put on a good show, they have a good fight, and then there's a lot of other heavyweight names out there that they can, you know, get good paydays and continue to fight at that top level. So, you know, they just got to keep training hard and focus on themselves.
And then we'll finish on the big fight of the card. It's Zhang, it's Deontay Wilder. As you've said yourself, crazy, stupid power in Deontay Wilder's right hand. Zhang has got that accuracy that I feel is very underrated in the punches that he lands and the way he lands them. I personally think Zhang knocks Deontay Wilder out early in the first half of the fight. Can you see this going to points? How do you see this fight is won? And can we get a prediction from yourself on who wins?
Yeah, and definitely. I don't see this fight going to points. Um, it's actually an exciting fight. I think Zhang could get it done. They both have so much power, but they both fight so different. You know what I mean? Like Zhang's punches, he generates punch. He rolls his punches over in inches. You know what I mean? Like it's like little knuckle punches, and then you got Wilder that just fucking is like a catapult, and he throws his punches from back here. So it's exciting, you know. Like I said, man, the heavyweight division's just popping off, and then just seeing this fight, and then you know the winner to see where he's gonna go. So, but anyways, the prediction, I don't know, man. I'm probably if I had to bet money on it, I don't like really picking people, but if I had to bet money on it, I'd probably bet Zane.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. It's a fight where, like you said, they're two completely different styles. But I think, you know, it's almost the cliche of styles make fights, and I think this just they're just going to meet in the middle of the ring, sort of not necessarily butt head, but I think we're just going to see big bombs thrown left, right, center. Jaya Pataya,
Should
thank
be
you
good,
so
eh?
much.
Entertaining. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jai, thank you so much for joining me live from Saudi. I hope you enjoy the card from ringside. Let us know down below in the comments, guys, what you think, if you think me and Jai are correct, and if you think Zhang can get the job done. Once again, Jai, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Take care of yourself.